what's trending now.
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that.
News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the Chiefs win the Super Bowl yesterday, and it was a 25-22 overtime win over the San Francisco 49ers. So the Kansas City Chiefs join the 49ers, Patriots, Steelers, Packers, and Giants as the only franchises to own 4 Vince Lombardi trophies. So they are the NFL's first back-to-back champion since the 2003-2004 Patriots. So pretty overtime win, 25-22. Exciting game. Also, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was hospitalized again yesterday, this time for symptoms that suggest a bladder issue that's emerging, the Pentagon said. So after a series of tests and evaluations, Austin was admitted into the critical care unit at Walter Reed, and they're trying to keep a very close eye on him. So they said at this time it's not clear how long Austin will remain hospitalized. His cancer prognosis remains excellent, they said. But as to how long he would be hospitalized, we'll have to wait and see. Likely more details forthcoming on that today. Also, the U.S. Senate is advancing the Ukraine aid bill despite opposition from Donald Trump. So the Senate has moved closer then to passing that $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. This is yesterday. And Trump had said, no, don't vote in favor of it. So the Democratic-led Senate voted 67-27 yesterday. So it's moving forward. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell chided those who he said would disregard U.S. global interests. Said this is idle work for idle minds, and it has no place in the United States Senate. American leadership matters, and it is in question. Say in part because of the age of some of those who are running the show. Other stories trending this morning. Russian forces launched 45 drones over Ukraine in a 5.5-hour barrage yesterday, according to officials. And Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has been shuffling his war cabinet as the war now goes into its third year. So the Ukrainian Air Force released a statement saying they had shot down 40 of the Iranian-made drones over 9 different regions, including on the outskirts of the country's capital, Kyiv. Donald Trump's, now again, this the story that's trending really, it's not quite accurate. Donald Trump said that as president, he warned NATO allies that he would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want, the countries that are delinquent. He was, and this is being misrepresented as to what it is that Trump actually said. What he was doing was trying to get NATO countries to pay up, which they did. It was not an act. The comments that he made were not in response to Russia. The comments that he made were in response to countries who were delinquent on paying NATO. And his goal, Trump's goal at the time, was to get NATO countries to start paying their share of the bill, which they did. It worked. And now it's being misrepresented, I think, in part to distract from Joe Biden's many problems. And it's the same thing with this whole Donald Trump during a speech over the weekend. He asked why Nikki Haley's husband hasn't been on the campaign trail. Well, he's deployed, apparently. So Michael Haley serves in the South Carolina Army National Guard. So he began a year-long deployment to Africa in June. And Trump apparently was not aware of that. He started questioning then his whereabouts in South Carolina on Saturday. And Trump went after her. He's been calling her bird brain. And Trump said, bird brain loves mass asylum. And the crowd laughs. There's nothing nice about her, Trump said of Nikki Haley. And then he quoted her, I will never run against President Trump. He's a great president, the greatest president in my lifetime. She said, I will never run against him. And she comes over to see me at Mar-a-Lago. Sir, I will never run against you. She brought her husband. And then Trump said, where is her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew, Trump said. So then Haley responded, Michael is deployed serving our country, something you know nothing about, she said. Trump's right about the, I will never run against you. What happened to all that? We all know she said that. So Trump also, a lot of the news that winds up trending is regarding Trump. I apologize. It is what it is. Those stories are trending. So Trump on Truth Social Saturday was talking about the fact that he should be let off the hook in the classified documents probe because the special counsel is saying no charges against Joe Biden. So Trump says, why are they charging me? I did nothing wrong. Presidential Records Act, a two-tier system of justice. This is an attack on Sleepy Joe's political opponent, me. It is large-scale election interference, Trump said. And then he was at a gathering of the NRA also Friday night. And we talked about this story on Friday. It was big news late last week. And Trump said, told the NRA, if Biden is not going to be charged, he said, that's up to them. Look, if he's not going to be charged, that's up to them, but then I should not be charged, he said. And he defended then his handling of those classified documents, and he said the difference being, under him, they're covered under the Presidential Records Act. And Trump called his actions peanuts by comparison. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden declaring Friday that it would be close to criminal neglect for Congress if they don't pass those billions of dollars in additional military aid to Ukraine. So Biden said the failure of the U.S. Congress, if it occurs, not to support Ukraine is close to criminal neglect. It's outrageous, he said. Without the support of the United States and without the support of the European states, Ukraine will not have a chance to defend its own country, he said. Among other stories trending, a man in Alaska has died from Alaska pox. makes him the first person to be killed by this disease. It was identified, it's a viral disease. It was identified about 9 years ago, and state health officials in Alaska reported this on Friday. So aside from being the first fatal human case, it's the documented first human infection outside of the Fairbanks area. And that indicates that the virus, which is known to be carried by small mammals, is spreading through wildlife, causing concern. A former WWE wrestler has been accused of shooting and killing his 85-year-old wife. Billy Jack Haynes is suspected of killing his wife. Haynes was arrested. He's 70 years old. His wife is 85 at the time she was killed. So Haynes was arrested after a 2-hour standoff with the police in his home in Portland, Oregon. So he eventually came out, was taken into custody, and police officers found his wife's body inside. Also, a federal judge has ordered that Elon Musk will need to testify again in the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission's probe of his acquisition of Twitter. So a judge issued the order on Saturday night. So the SEC had sued Musk in October to compel him to testify as part of an investigation into his purchase of Twitter. And Musk had refused to attend an interview in September. That was a part of that probe. So now he's been ordered again to testify in their probe of how Elon Musk purchased Twitter. That's hardly a surprise. Twitter, where Elon Musk has made it very clear that he's all about freedom of speech and that people be allowed to share their thoughts and so on. Also, Jeff Bezos has filed a statement with federal regulators indicating his sale of nearly 12 million shares of Amazon stock. It's worth more than $2 billion. That story's still trending. I shared that late last week, still trending this morning. Also, Stephen A. Smith pushed back on Sean Hannity. The Hannity had invited Stephen A. Smith to come on his show late last week and talk about the Super Bowl. And Stephen A. Smith and Hannity got into it. Smith said, "I'm accustomed to you acting like you know everything. So you usually wouldn't call a guest to talk about the Super Bowl. You just probably pontificate on your own about what was going to happen." So then Hannity said, if Smith was going to come out with your A game, he said, might as well fire back at him after he had made comments about Joe Biden. And Hannity said, "I'm going to call you out because yesterday we learned from the special counsel, not Sean Hannity, your buddy, you learned from the special counsel that Joe Biden is a cognitive mess." And he said, "Well, you can say it now. Sean Hannity has been right all along. Say it." So Smith hit back, claiming he never called Hannity wrong, but told him his rhetoric around Biden had been disrespectful. There was a difference, he said. "What I said is there are nicer ways to speak about our president," he said. And then he said, "He is in his 80s, for crying out loud. Respect your elders. Could you not be nicer about it?" I think that's what we saw from the special counsel. Being nice being nice. He's in his 80s. And this will be Stephen A. Smith is among the first, but he won't be the only one. Too old. You can't criticize him that way. He's too old. He's in his 80s. My reaction is, then why in the hell is he running for president again? That comes with the territory. Other stories trending this morning. Former NFL and Major League Baseball star Bo Jackson won $21 million in a civil case against his own family. He was awarded the money after an extortion attempt that was coordinated by his niece and nephew, according to multiple reports. Can you imagine that? Having family members who were in the middle of an extortion attempt against you? Incredible. Also, other stories trending this morning. O.J. Simpson reportedly undergoing chemotherapy. He posted a video on Friday in which he appeared to flaunt his good health, but news had broken earlier in the day that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and a report then was widely shared from a Miami ABC affiliate, citing sources. So rumor then seemed to get back to the juice that people thought he was in hospice care, because then he took to X, sharing a video from behind the wheel of his car and telling the camera, I'm not in any hospice. I don't know who put that out there. He didn't address the cancer or the chemo reports, but added that he's hosting a ton of friends for the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. All is well. A Texas woman was sentenced on Friday to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty. She threatened a Florida judge. In fact, she threatened the Florida judge who was overseeing the criminal case against Donald Trump and his handling of classified documents. So this 50-year-old woman pled guilty. She left voicemails threatening to kill the judge while claiming to be a member of several military combat units. So she was sentenced Friday to 3 years in prison, also sentenced to 3 years of supervised release after that. And those are the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery.